now we've come to the end of Series 3, The Gift. When the Slevenes' latest scheme to destroy Earth for profit is foiled, another family from Raxacoricophalopatorius arrives. These creatures are called the Blaverine. As a generous gesture of peace, the Blaverine offer Sarah Jane and her team a gift. A plant called Wackweed, which they say could end world hunger. However, overnight, the wackweed goes wild, spreading its spores about London, infecting people, including Luke. So Sarah Jane must fight alone, not only to save the Earth, but also her son. Can the team work together to prevent wackweed from evoking the entire planet? Okay, I'm going to talk about the bad first, just to get this out of the way. But I think it's nice that the show is trying to get across the idea that not all races are evil at first, but the moral doesn't work. Yeah, it was pretty obvious that they were as bad as the Slevene, and I know that they gave an explanation of why, but let's be honest, if they were just a Slevene, it wouldn't make any difference. So the message here is anything you see that is different is always evil? I don't think that is a good message to kids. And don't get me started on how the Blaverine were defeated. I won't say how, but that is just too much. While I like seeing them in the attic, I kind of agree with Sarah Jane. It didn't have to end that way. There must have been another way. And the idea of Sarah Jane taking the wackweed become glorious as well as to be an ambassador? The problem I have with that is that Sarah Jane already knows that. It's not all about the glory, and yet she takes the plant which could destroy the entire world. Now I know she was tricked, but I still can't help but think that there is a sense of glee in her eye. Plus, there are times in which Sarah Jane is easily fooled. Seriously, the main character, whose name is in the show's title, easily fooled more than once in the episode? That doesn't seem right. While I do admit the threat of the wackweed taking over the world is pretty epic, I can't help but think that having Luke once again be in danger, that Sarah Jane has to save him, is getting far too old. First Series 1, then Series 2, now 3 series in a row? Come on guys, you can do something different and better than that. Plus, I don't think this is a good story to end the series on. Like I said, I think the wedding of Sarah Jane had more of a challenging story for the series finale. Okay, that's all the bad stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the good stuff. I am a Raxacoricophalopatorian fan, and I do enjoy seeing the Slevene in this episode. Their 5-minute appearance was fun. I don't know if the boy is meant to be the Slevene child from Series 1, but as a young adult, which I think might be a good bit of continuity. But he's probably the most enjoyable actor out of all the Slevene actors in the show, even though his farting is pretty annoying at times. The Blaverine are an interesting species. Even though it's basically the Slevene painted orange, it's nice to see a new race of Raxacoricophalopatorians. And while the Slevene family are more like thieves and con artists, the Blaverine are actually a race of farmers. And unlike the Slevene, the Blaverine actually plan ahead, which actually makes them even more fun. Miriam Margolyes and Simon Cowell voice the Blaverine, and they are enjoyable as always. I mean, come on, it's Miriam Margolyes and Simon Cowell. How can you go wrong with that? Just any scene with them in the episode is fun. There are a majority of dinner scenes in this story. I mean, yeah, the idea of having dinner with an alien doesn't sound like a good idea on paper, but in execution, yeah, it is awkward at times, but it's actually quite humorous. That's one of the things to say about this episode. It's weird, but humorous. The wackweed flying across, taking over the Earth, is something out of Shaun of the Dead. No matter where you turn, there's always an obstacle in the way. Plus, their scream is chilling, and the design is well thought out. It's like looking at a furry virus. While I find the idea of Luke in danger and Sarah Jane having to save the day is getting tiring after a while, but at least it has Sarah Jane, the star of the show, as the star of the episode and the one who saves the day, unlike Series 2 finale. Plus, Luke getting sick actually gives us some more scenes of Sarah Jane acting like a real mother. And since the stakes are high, it gives her the right to do whatever it takes to set things right and to save her son. And like all the other finales, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's nice to see every one of the cast have something to do. Sarah Jane goes James Bond with the vinegar gun and faces against the Blaverine. Luke has to face against the wackweed disease and face against death. Clyde and Ronnie face against the Ragweed. Even Mr. Smith and K9 have to work together to solve the problem. Oh, and for those of you thinking to take a robotic dog to cheat at your GCSE tests, take Sarah Jane's advice. Have faith in your own abilities. I did. So yeah, this is a fun episode, but I don't think this needed to be the finale. There are most moments which do feel like an epic finale, but I think how they ended it doesn't actually feel right for the series. But I guess for a kids show, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I liked it when I was a kid, but as an adult, I think it could have done better. But that's just my opinion. Thank you for joining me for Series 3. Please be sure to share these videos and don't forget to join me next week as we begin my all-time favourite series of the Sarah Jane Adventures, Series 4. See you then.